She looked around in the room like an innocent kid curiously as she noticed the room is quite dark, filled with his photo frames when door opened revealing him. And she looked at him and then looked away as he looked at her coldly with burning eyes. She fixed her gown and he looked at her for a while she sat on the bed as he closed his eyes. Get up, he sternly said, and she rose. I said, get up from my bed, he angrily said, and her brows jolted. But she chose to ignore as she removed her accessories, and her ignorance made his blood boil as he aggressively walked to her before holding her wrist and he pulled her up harshly. Her brows twitched. Can't you hear that? What I said, He said, gritting teeth while she calmly watched him. Listen, whatever. Why in? She said calmly. Whatever, he said, and she just shook her head. This is my room. She chuckled mockingly, which made him more mad. What's with that chuckle, huh? He asked, gritting teeth, and she removed his hand. None of your business, boiled that. He shut his eyes as she pinched his sore spot as he pulled her aggressively. Don't call me with that name again, I'm warning you. He said, tightening his jaw. Boiled egg. She said, making him shut his eyes as he clenched his jaws. Listen, whatever and whosoever you are, I'm never accepting you as my wife. So don't try to show your right on my room, on me, or on my anything. He said, clenching jaws, and she smiled sarcastically. Nice, something else? She asked sarcastically, and he huffed, looking away. For now, that's it only. I'm not your husband, and you are not my wife. That's it. She said as he tried to back, but she pulled him by his collar, making his eyes widen. Fine. The nonsense you said. Don't say this again, she calmly said as he looked at her. You married to me. If you had that much guts, why you did marry me? You should tell your parents that you don't want to marry. And if you did, then you have to accept me as your wife. Understand? She said. Fine. And I'm not done yet. And if you did, you have to accept me as your wife. You took vows with me. Did you get that, Mr. Wallach? She said, raising voice, maintaining daring eye contact with him. Woe's my foot, he said dryly, chuckling. And if you didn't, I'll sue you. Understand, we are legally husband-wife. I'm not the random girl you brought at your home, she said, jerking away, and he glared at her, clenching jaws. I'll sue you, Mr. Arrogant boiled John, she said, and he's so mad right now. He took the glass from the table as he smashed on the floor to frustrate her, and she just watched him as she chuckled. She took the other glass from the table and smashed on the floor, and she took other one as she smashed it too, and he watched her with burning eyes, and she smiled. I did better, she said, flicking her hair as she walked in the washroom. Jungkook shut his eyes as he grabbed his hair. He cursed. Damn, I hate her, he angrily said. Jungkook walked in as his parents looked at him also and walked from kitchen. Their eyes landed on Jungkook as their eyes met for a while, but Jungkook immediately looked away, making her sigh. As she walked to his parents and greeted them with a smile. Here's a copy, Mom did, she said with a smile, and they smiled back. Thank you, daughter, he said as she smiled, nodding as she extended to Mrs. John. Thank you, daughter, she smiled. As she is about to take her seat, but Mrs. John stopped her. Daughter, where's Jungkook's coffee? She asked, and Vine is about to say something. No need, I'll make it for myself, he said rudely as she eyed on him. But son, he didn't let her complete as he walked in kitchen in between the conversation and Vine's side, but Mrs. John looked at her. Vine, daughter, go, she said in stern voice, and she looked at her and nodded. Jagya, let it be. You know your son, right? Why are you bothering her? He said, taking a sip of his coffee. Yeah, boo. She's his wife. It's her responsibility. she said with serious tone, looking at her the seriousness of the environment. She got up. Mom, I'll go, she softly said, and she nodded with a smile as she walked. Where the hell is my cup gone? He frustratedly said as he made kitchen a complete mess. And where the hell the all house helps are? Why didn't they make my morning coffee? He muttered. And Wine walked his watched him that how he made the kitchen a complete mess. And she said, move aside, let me make. She said, coming. Shut up, he said, and she squints. You will be cleaning the kitchen then, she said, taking the sip of her coffee. Clean my foot, he said, and she squinted her brow. Did anyone tell you that you are really rude and doesn't have manners to talk? She said, and he ignored her. Where the hell is my cup gone? He said, being annoyed. It was there only, and when his eyes landed on mine, the hell, that's my cup, he immediately responded, and she eyed on his cup and then him. I didn't know it's yours. How dare you? He angrily said, and she just looked at him then. It was an honest mistake, she said, and his brows straightened. How desperate you are that you are showing right on everything which is mine. She just stared him as she doesn't have words. Shankar aggressively on the gas as she smiled slightly, sitting on the counter, and he eyed on her. You are my helplessness, understand? She said with a smile, and he looked at her scrunching eyes. I'm not even going to accept you as my helplessness. And she sighed. Choices, Mr. John, she said, shrugging as she looked at him. The way he's making coffee, it feels like he entered in the kitchen for the first time. Do you want me to help you, hubby? She said with the most softest tone ever as he just looked at her. Yeah, help me to make my coffee better, he said, and she raised both with a smile. How? She asked, and he gave her a tight lipped smile. Your touch will make it better. And she chuckled as she jumped off the counter. Move, then I can help you, she said as she took pen from his hand and he watched her exhaling. Make and drink it, he said as he was about to walk, but she held his wrist. Do you think I will let you go after making this condition of kitchen, huh? She asked. Do you think I will clean it? He asked sarcastically. Of course you will, since you did this all. There is no house help available, she said, holding his wrist, walking near him. And you think I will do this all alone when you are the one who created this mess, she said with a smile. Jungkook jerked her as she stumbled, but in fractions of a second he pulled her close to him and moved, hugging her, and the hot pen fell on the floor, spilling the hot water on the floor as his eyes widened in horror. He breathed heavily as it happened so fast, and he moved in action really fast, otherwise she got burned by that hot pen. He cursed himself underneath as he closed his eyes while Wine looked back and then him. Their eyes met in brief eye contact. You should stay away from me, he whispered, and she just stared him. As he moved back and turned off the gas while Wine watched him. So you're cleaning, she said, and he didn't reply. I'll help you anyway. Can't you just shut up for a while? He asked, and she looked at him. I'm asking to help you. I didn't ask, he cuts off her as she sighed. Fine, then you can clean. Again, I'm reminding that there is no house help available. Go, Ryan. Frustration was visible in his voice as she sighed. Okay, she said, shrugging. But keep that in your mind. I shouldn't be get scolded from your mother, she said, and he brushed his hair, aggressively nodding. Okay, go, he calmly said as she walked, and he watched her disappearing. Pine walked a little as she peeked back as he got up, taking kitchen cloth to clean, and she looked at her wrist, which is rest due to burn, when he jerked her. Her hand hit to the hot pan, and she sighed, pressing her lip. Shanko walked down, getting ready to go office when his father stopped him as he rolled his eyes. Yes, Dad, he asked, sighing, and his father shot a glare to him. Don't you dare to roll your eyes on me again, he said, and he sighed. Where are you going? he asked. Of course, office dad, he replied. You just got married, Jungkook. You should spend some time with your wife. Jungkook sighed. Yes, son, you have to take wine for shopping. Jungkook clenched his fist. We have reception party day after tomorrow. Guests must have arrived by today. Work is more important, Dad, he said in Mr. John's clenched eyes. Don't talk nonsense. There is a lot of things left to do. Your wedding reception is left, since we have done private wedding. So the grand party is left, he said. Hey, lovelies, he said, walking in. Mr. and Mrs. John looks and a smile appeared on their face. Hello, bro, he said, waving at them, and a firm smile appears on Jungkook's face. Sovin, he muttered, and leaving his bag, he ran to Jungkook and hugged him as he chuckled, hugging him back. What a pleasant surprise, he said. Pleasant surprise? Come here, you brat. This is how you join your own brother's wedding, huh? After he got married, you came to an party only? She scolded him, and he chuckled. No, Mom, it's a flights and time booking droned us, he said. Us? Hello, Auntie. She walked as other one followed. Hello, everyone. She also walked and they smiled. Hi, Jungkook. She greeted him with a smile. Hi, Noob, he replied. Well, happy to see you all. Even if it's late, but that's okay, he said, and they smiled as he looked at Jungkook. Congratulations so far, Sovin smiled. Yeah, congratulations, Hyung. Where is Hyung Sunim? He asked with a wide smile, and Jungkook bit his lips. I'm excited to meet Seoni. Where is she? She asked, and his faint smile. She must be in her room, she said. When Wyan walked down, her eyes curiously followed the unknown faces as she looked at them with curiosity and innocence. Here she is, she said as their eyes followed while Minnie's eyes lightened up. She rushed towards her and hugged her while she flinched as she hugged her suddenly. You are so pretty, Sonia, she said as she broke the hug and looked at her, smiling widely, while Wyan smiled in return. Oppa, nice choice, she said, and Jungkook sighed when Subin walked to her. Hi, my pretty young son, Subin, he said, extending his hand for a handshake. You must have heard my name, he said with a smile. She accepted his hand for a handshake while being confused. I'm sorry, I didn't, she said nervously in confusion while Minnie laughed out loud. Happy now? She said, laughing at him mockingly, and Subin gave her a look. It's okay, Youngsonim. Let me introduce myself. It's John Subin, your husband's little brother and your brother-in-law, he said with a smile, and she smiled. Oh, hi, I'm Wyan. She introduced her, and Subin made office. Young, she's so sweet, he said, and Jungkook raised brows as a sarcastic smirk appears on her face. Until she opens her mouth, he mumbled to himself as Noah looked at him. This is Minnie, Oppa's cousin sister, she said, and Wyan smiled. Hi, Minnie. She also admires her as she hugged her, and she hugged her back. I'm already in love with you, she said, and Wyan smiled. Can I join your hug too? He asked, and Wyan nodded as he hugged them and Jungkook sighed. Mr. John and Mrs. John smiled, looking at them, as Mr. John looked at Jungkook and noticed him. They broke the hug as Wyan looked at the unknown face. She was staring at them. She's Noah, my friend's daughter. These four grown up together, and Jungkook was the one who was the leader of their group. Mr. John explained, looking at the question on Wyan's face as she nodded. Noah walked to her as she extended her hand for a handshake. Hello, I'm Noah. She introduced herself, and Wyan smiled as she accepted her hand for a handshake. I'm Wyan, she replied. You know Wyan, you, Nova, and Sobin are of same age. Sobin's eyes lightened up. Really? Mrs. John nodded. Wow. Then we are going to be best buddy, Hyungsunim. We are going to set house on fire. Mr. John chuckled. Okay, let's talk later. Now they both have to go for shopping. So you guys let them go, she said, looking at Jungkook as Jungkook looked at her. Oh, we should also join them. What's it? She excitedly said. No, Minnie, let them spend some time alone, she said, and Minnie nodded. Yep, we'll go tomorrow for shopping, she said. Jungkook go. He nodded as he doesn't have any option. He looked at Wine and she walked to him. While he walked, as she looked around as Mr. John notices them initially, Wine also walked following him. So Minnie and Noah, where are your parents? He asked. They will come from tomorrow's flights, buddy. Mr. John said. This will look good on you, she said, showing her multiple dresses. While while she looked at Jungkook, who was busy on college, she sighed. Show me a little lightweighted dress which I can carry easily, she said. Designer nodded. As Wine sighed, as she is about to bump into him but stopped at her place as she looked at him and he looked at her. See this one, she said, showing her another gown as Jungkook looked at gown. It seems so off according to occasion, he said as Design looked at him. Sir, in lightweighted you will get this type of gown only. Jungkook frowned. Who said lightweighted? He asked, and she looked at Wine. I asked. His brow straightened. Show the heaviest gown in your shop, he demanded, looking in her eyes. But do as I said, he said, breaking the eye contact, and her brow straightened. I'm not going to wear it, she stubbornly said. Not my problem. Answer to mom, he replied, and she feasted, clenching jaws. Excuse me? Please show some tuxedo with heaviest work. The heaviest one, she said, maintaining the dirty eye contact with him, and he just. Sure, ma'am. You think I'm going to wear it? She folded arms across her chest. You have to. If you can't, then I won't. He just stared at her and he broke the eye contact, chuckling sarcastically. Or I'll assume you are a weak man who has no power to carry a 20 kg tuxedo but accepts his wife to carry 40 kg gown, she said, pressing her lips, smiling, and Jungkook squint. You really don't have any idea of my power yet. Inside out. Should I show you? He asked, leaning, and she put hand on his chest, looking away. Real man isn't someone who prove his power putting a woman down, she said, and Jungkook rolled his eyes. Don't play this man, woman, and feminism game with me, understand? He said. I'm very well aware what kind of a man I am, understand? It's just I don't see you as woman. Mine's roasted. Excuse me, boiled egg? Mind your tongue, he said, looking here and there. What do you mean by that? She asked and he scoffed. What you heard, darling? He speaks, making her heart skip a bit as he walked while she just stared at him. What he think of himself? She mumbled to herself as she tried to zip her dress. What does he mean by that? Boiled egg? Arrogant, rude, and her eyes widened. What the? She mumbled to herself. What am I going to do? She mumbled as she peeked outside of the door. There is a male staff walking around, and at distance, Jungkook is checking suits, and she doesn't have any option to call him. She took her phone as she called him, and he faked while looking at suit. He asked, "Come here," she said, and he looked in her direction as she waved at him. What happened? He asked. There is some problem. I need your help. Please come, she said, and mischievous grin appears on his face. Really? Is that so? He asked, folding arms across his chest. Jungkook is serious, he chuckled mockingly. When I said it's funny, darling, he said, making her piss. Jungkook, it's urgent. I need your help. Please come. He smirked. Oh, nice. More politely, beg me to help you, he said, and she looked at him completely done. Fine then, I asked some staff to help. Excuse me. Stop, I'm coming, he said, widening his eyes as she glared at him. He walked to changing room as she unlocked the door and about to speak, but he walked inside, closing the door from his one hand, and he looked at her with rage. What you were going to do, huh? she said angrily, and she stared him for a while. If you don't help me, then I have to ask someone, right? Male stuff, he asked, and she looked away as he tightened his jaw. I swear, Ryan. He phoned slightly next to her as she looked at him, and he looked at her with rage while she remained silent. My zipper got broken in half and it got stuck, she nervously said while he didn't break the eye contact as he pulled her closer by her waist, making her gasp. He ripped the dress apart from behind and Vine's eyes widened. She quickly put her hand on her front, not to let the dress fall. She pressed her back against a mirror as she was looking at her intensely. I didn't call you to make it worse, she said. You already made it worse, he replied in a husky voice. It's an expensive debt, she said. Not expensive than my anger right now, he replied as she looked at him unbelievable. He took her dress and handed it to her. Change it in 5 minutes and come out, commanded, and she bit her lips as he unlocked the door walking out. Then she held her head. It's really something, she muttered. She walked in when Mrs. John notices her alone as she was lost in her thoughts, and Mrs. John stopped her. Why? She stopped as she looked at her and Yes, ma'am, she replied. Have you done your shopping completely? She asked, and Vine nodded. Where is Shankuk? She asked, and Vine looked at door then her. I don't know, mom. Actually, he came with me, but where he gone later, dropping, I don't have any idea. Vine, listen to me, she said, and Vine nodded. Yes, mom. Mrs. John looked at Mr. John as he shook his head, and she still continued Mr. John's side. He is your husband, Ryan. You should know where he is, she said, and Ryan nodded. Yes, mom, she said, lowering her head. Also, one more thing, Ryan. I can see where your and Jungkook's relationship is going, she said, and Ryan just listened. Yebu let it. She showed palm to him as he rolled his eyes. You're a woman. Only you know how to build that relationship. Ryan eyed on Mr. John, and shaking his head, he walked from there. I know it's just first day of your marriage, but still I need to say this. She took a deep breath. Jungkook is our first child, and in the age he is, he should have family by now. But he delayed marriage, so I don't want more delay, she said in Ryan front. We want an high from you. I want you to give that news in a month, Ryan. Her brows twitched. But mom, Ryan, I don't want to hear anything. I told you already. You will do it anyhow. Give us a good news soon. She looked at her unbelievable. But mom, listen to me. Yebo, he called her. Keep that in mind, she said as she walked in, let her speak, and she held her head. What does she mean by that? She mumbled as she still can't believe what she had just said. She looked at her bags in her hands as she threw them on floor and ran upstairs. They all were having dinner as Subin asked, Mom, Young Sunim didn't come yet, and Mrs. John looked at him with no words as Mr. John is about to speak, but Jungkook walked in. Oppa, where is Sunny? She asked, and Jungkook looked at dining table that she is not there. Why are you asking me? She is already home. I dropped her. I went for some work, he said in the front. Is she? I didn't see her, he said, and Jungkook took out water bottle and drink. She must be sleeping. Might be she got tired after shopping, she said. But mom, at least you could have asked her for dinner, he said, and Mrs. John looked at him. I thought not to disturb her, she replied, and Jungkook looked at her. It's been so long she has been home, mom, he said. I went to call her, but your room was locked, so she said. It's okay, son. Go and check on her, he said. Take her and your dinner as well. Jungkook sighed, rolling his eyes. I had my dinner already, Dad. Mr. John looked at him. How can you when your wife is hungry? He said. Exactly. I was hungry and it's so late already. How would I know she is hungry? He said, being annoyed. Young, instead of arguing, you can check on her. Is she alright or not? He said, and Jungkook sighed and nodded. He tried opening the door, but it was locked and from inside. Is he front? and he put the tray on side table as he is about to knock, but his hand stopped in mid-air as he took out his room key and unlocked the door. To his surprise, the room was dark, only night lamp was on. As he switched on the lights and looked for Ryan, he put the dinner on side table and walked to open the window as he felt his room is suffocating. He opened the window and when he turned his eyes wide, a little spotted Ryan. She was sitting on floor, taking support of bed and resting her head on her knees. Jungkook looked at her in concern as he crouched down to her level, shaking her a little. Ryan, he shook her as she flinched. She looked at him as she felt asleep. Why are you sleeping like this? He asked, and she looked away as she wiped her cheeks and moved back while Jungkook noticed dried tears on her cheeks and his gaze softened as he sits beside her. You were crying? He asked, and she looked at him and he sniffed a little. What happened? He asked, and she looked away. You got hurt by my actions? Even if you should be happy, she coldly said as she tried to get up and he stopped her. Are you really upset? He asked, and she looked at him being sad. If you got hurt by my words, then I should cry more than you because the better you speak to me, he said, and she chuckled sarcastically. Do you really think your nonsense can make me cry? You can make me cry, she asked, and he chuckled a little as she frowned. It's good I can't make you cry, he said, and Wine nodded, looked at him confused. Okay, then let me know the reason, he asked, and she stared him for a while. You are drunk, he smiles a little. He replied, and she looked away. That's why you are talking nonsense, she mumbles, and took her hand in his, and she looked at him. Don't do this, she angrily said, and he pulled her in his embrace as she got close by. I have a drink a little, very little. I am in my senses, he muttered, and she controlled her tears. If you were in your senses, you won't be talking like this, she muttered back, and he kissed her back. Oi, Ryan, I can do everything, but I can't make a woman cry. This is not my strength, he said. I know how much you can bear, and we know each other from past last to 8 months, so I know your tolerance, he said, and Ryan covered her. You look better when you fight with me. Don't talk like this, she said with heavy throat, and he smiled. I'm not in a mood to fight right now. He broke the heart. We will do that tomorrow. Now tell me what happened, he asked, and she controlled her emotions. I don't want to tell you, she said, and he scratched his neck. You are weird, he said, and she glared at him. Jungkook sighed. I'm not drunk, okay? I'm conscious I lied to you, he said, and Ryan clenched his jaws, getting pissed. Jungkook, don't play around, I swear, she angrily said, and he rested his head on bed. I'm not in a mood to play. Please tell me what happened. I really want to know. What can make you cry like this? He said as he looked the dinner from have dinner and tell me. I promise we will fight tomorrow, he said, and she looked at him annoyed. If you won't tell me, I will ask mom directly. He didn't let her speak as she looked at him, and her breath hissed as he looked at her, and her eyes told her the half truth that he smiled. No one knows my mom better than me. Now tell me what she said. You know what? You also look good when you fight with me. So end it and let's start again. It's okay if you don't want to tell me, then sit here only. I'm going to sleep. I'm very much tired, he said, and she looked at him unbelievable. You really don't care, right? She speaks out of blue, and he shook his head, and she punched his shoulder and he glared at her. Don't take advantage, he said in stern voice. She looked away, and sighing, he got up, and her tears dropped more as she speaks. I don't want baby. She speaks out of blue as he stopped at his track. She got up wiping her tears and as he looked at her, softening his gaze as she walked near him. I don't want baby with you. She speaks and a slight smile appears on his face. Really? Why? You want wife, right? But this includes in that package, he said with a mischievous grin, and she glared at him. What do you mean by that? Wife is only to make babies? Do I look like a baby making machine to you? She said, pouting, and he controlled his smile. But that we have to do, Ian, whether I accept you as my wife or not, he said with serious expression and her mouth hung open. I will smack your head, Jungkook, she angrily said, and he controlled his laugh. Try to touch me, I will break your bones, she said, pouting, and he focused. Do you think you can do that? He asked. I can do that, I swear, she said, and he bit his lip. If you want baby, get yourself pregnant and have baby, she angrily said, making his eyes widen. What? She wiped her tears. Yes, feel the pain. Why I should feel that pain? And for an arrogant man like you, she angrily said, pouting, and Jungkook controlled his mind. It's not possible, that's nonsense, he said, and she cleared it. There must be. Science have gone too far. I'm sure they have something to make man pregnant. A low chuckle left from his mouth. Man should feel the pain. Do you have any idea how much pain is caused? He raised brows. Oh, how do you know? You have experienced before? He mockingly asked, and her eyes widened as she took the pillow and hit him, making him giggle. Don't talk nonsense, boiled egg, she angrily said. I know I'm a woman when that 5 days hurt this much, so how much it hurts while giving birth, she said, and his smile slowly faded. I am not going to do that. If being your wife gives me this much pain, I'm happy that you won't accept me as your wife. Don't accept me. You know what your mom said? That she wants to hear this news in a month. It felt like that I got married to you just to give you higher, she said, and Jungkook just stared at her. Listen, you Mr. John Jungkook, get baby adopted or get yourself pregnant to give higher to your family. Don't accept for me, she said, pointing her index finger to him, and he looked at her finger, then her. I am myself a baby now, she said, pouting. Jungkook was still staring her. Okay, he said as she looked at him. I'll talk, mom, he said, and she looked at him for a while. But don't tell this to mom, okay? And yes, don't say that if she asks that we do have husband-wife relationship or not. Just say yes. He said, and her expression turns again to worried one. It means she cut it off by, I'm not interested to touch you. I'm not mad. I mean everything, he said, and she looked away. Good for you. Otherwise your mother will say I broke his sunbones, she muttered, and Jungkook raised his. Do you really think you can do that? If I want to, I will. You can't stop me, he said, and she looked at him nervous. Women are weak in physical terms compared to men. She squinted brows. Oh, hello. Women give birth to those men whom you are saying weak, she said, and he rolled his eyes. Not in that way, he muttered. Have you ever bitten by a woman? She asked while her hands on her waist, and he gave her a weird look. Are you mad or something? He asked. No, I was saying because there are high chances right now. He poked his cheeks. Should I give you an example or demo? He asked, and her eyes widened a little. She looked here and there as she took the nearest pass, and Jungkook rolled his eyes while coughing. You are brainless, Ryan, he uninterestedly said, and she gave him a look. Same to you, she said, and he said, go and have your dinner, I'm not in a mood to fight. He uninterestedly said, you will not sleep with me on bed, she said, and he gave her a weird look. This is my bed, ma'am, he said. So, it's mine now. You can sleep on couch, he huffed. I will sleep on bed only. Sleep wherever you want to, if you are not comfortable, he said, and she just stared at him as he threw himself on bed. Have your dinner, he said. I don't want to eat, she said, pouting, folding arms across her chest, and he piqued her. If you don't want to have dinner, then we will make babies. Her eyes widened. Jungkook, she hit him with pillow, making him laugh. She stomped her foot angrily, and he covered himself with blanket as she walked towards washroom, and he peeked at her. Okay, listen, if mom didn't agree, then we have to give them higher. YN, he said, controlling his smile. Jungkook, she yelled, stomping foot, and he covered his ears, grinning mischievously. I don't mind, come. He intentionally said to provoke her more, and she declared at him, I hate you. Hate you too, baby, he said, replied, winking. She walked in stomping foot as she shut the door with a loud hand, and his smile slowly faded as he laid down, closing his eyes. Mom, he mumbled.